What's up, guys? My name is Rigo Martinez. I'm here with Dallas Bluth.
We just met tonight. It's fine.
He's a writer, a speaker.
So I'm working on a book right now. It's called 10 Laws of Fire and Gold, The Path from Consumer to Producer. It's a motivational book about money. It talks about our identities. It talks about what our driving forces are, sort of our deeper beliefs and our deeper habits, and then how we can go from this place of being a consumer that we've all been sort of told that we're supposed to be in from day one, where we spend all the money we get, and rise up to a place where we have an identity as a producer, where we feel proud of what we have, we value it more deeply, and that we actually moderate our consumption and bring it into balance with our work.
Do you believe that's some sort of programmation that we have?
I had some income properties, for several years, and I worked really hard at them. A couple of years ago, I just cashed them all out, sold them all, and I was looking to put the money into just normal stock investments. I started watching financial news a lot, and I realized that when they refer to the general population, they call us consumers. The word producer or producing something almost never comes up when they're talking about the economy, when they're describing it, when they're talking about how it works, what are the mechanics. We're called one thing: consumers. Our economy is based on consumption. We're supposed to dig up raw materials up out of the ground, build things in a factory, sell it to somebody, and the idea that we're producing something that will last is a very small minority of what the economy is actually based on. So yeah, it's completely systemic.
Do you believe that our current education limits people from financial growth?
It's not that it's teaching us improperly, it's that it's just absent from most of the education. I don't know how much the education limits us from financial growth, but it definitely doesn't teach us much of anything about money. After I finished grad school, I went back to a community college and took a full year, just the 101 class of accounting. And that opened my eyes. It taught me what a liability really is when you have a credit card or when you have a loan for a house. It taught me what assets are when you have money, cash in an account, or you have brokerage account. It taught me what income and expenses are. It taught me what a balance sheet is. It taught me what an income statement is. All of these things are what have personally allowed me to be able to do the math properly, to know what the financial outcome of my decisions is going to be. I never learned that in all of elementary school, middle school, high school, undergrad, and graduate school. No one ever taught it to me.
Your book is about the loss of it. It's not about financial gain.
The title of the book is 10 Laws of Fire and Gold. So the fire is what happens inside of a person when they're connected properly with what they're doing, what they're earning and what they're producing, and then also how they connect with the rest of the world. And the gold, of course, is the value of what's being produced, and how the two of those work back and forth together. The main quote of the book is, "Gold doesn't shine without the fire."
Oh, I love that.
So somebody having a bank account with a whole bunch of money in it, but they don't actually have the fire of a producer inside of them, that money's kind of worthless. It's not really doing a lot. If you meet a guy that's got $10 million in his bank account and he's just sitting on his butt doing nothing, he's not going to command the type of respect and the type of admiration and he's not going to inspire the type of motivation in people with someone that actually has the fire working in them as well. And with somebody that has the fire working in them, the gold is gonna follow when you understand how it connects, it just will. And so a lot of the book is really, when it's talking about the path from consumer to producer, the producer is so that you can reclaim that fire and actually come to life in it. And when your gold starts to shine and it actually has the deep value and the beauty, you respect it more. You don't spend it all. You keep more of it. And when you give it to somebody else, oh my gosh, is that the most powerful thing in the world? When you're giving somebody, $100 because they need new tires for their car or something, and on the spot, you're like, I feel called to do this. And when you give them that and they can tell you're actually working hard and grinding it out and you're giving that $100 actually has a whole different energy in it.
Someone who is working, grinding hard versus somebody who already has it and can just give it. It's definitely a different energy there. I love how you mentioned the fire and the gold, because I'm thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the book is about you and one itself, right? The fire is you, right? Is it?
Yeah, it is. It is. I think the book is what I feel like I've learned.
Okay.
In the process, because I've worked hard on a lot of different things in my life. There's a lot of stories in the book that are about me being a landlord.
Okay.
And, it's stories of me climbing under units and, fixing garbage disposals, and I don't know what I'm doing, and try to be very honest about it. And the truth is, there is no way really to get that fire going unless you actually meet the challenge. The very first section of the first chapter, the title of it is Shovelfuls. Money comes from work. Work isn't something that you show up to and you get a paycheck. Work is something that you do when you apply yourself and you start digging in to actually get something good. Because those are the people that get promoted in their jobs. Those are the people that realize they're in the wrong job and they move on to the next job that fits them better. Those are the people that graduate out of a certain job and into their next job. Those are the people with fire. Those are the people that are digging in, but you have to have that resistance. You have to have some material for you to dig into and work with. And again, Shovelfuls is just, you're just sitting there and you're grinding it out, and that produces a sexy individual. It's like you can't go to the gym and get sexy without doing the work. Same fire. So you see somebody who does that work, they've got fire inside of them. Fire of 10 Laws and Fire and Gold, it's the same fire. But realizing that it also applies very much in a financial space.
You gotta have the passion.
Yeah, it's the same spirit. And when we're a kickback consumer, no fire. You're just, you're just kind of hanging out. I mean, there's another section I write in there called At Your Inconvenience.
Okay.
And all of the sections are plays on word, they're meant to make you kind of think about it. And I talk about movie night and pizza night and how this is the most indulgent night. And, you get the pizza, and it's in your car, and how the smell of the pizza infuses into the fabric of all the seats and everything for like days. Then you start eating the pizza and shoving it in your mouth, and slowly you slow down and you start to like fall over on your couch, and you're like, your spine gives out and everything. No fire whatsoever. Not to say you can't have moments like that, but it's a question of balance. Having a pizza night and a movie, that's a high level of consumption. And if most of our identity is that of consuming and being a consumer, fire just goes down and down and down and down. Where when you tap into the producing element and you activate that, that's when the fire starts going up and up and up. And that's contagious. That fire, I can see the smile on your face.
Yeah.
So like you can see the type of energy and fire that I have. You're looking at that going like, God, I want to check my checking account and like see where I am with this. Like, because it's more fun to play that game, than it is to kind of like just like, play this game.
That gives me the image of somebody who has gone comfortable.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah.
So consumer versus producer, there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get a copy and I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna talk to you about it. So just the way you're explaining it and what I'm visualizing, and it's really good information. This is something that you personally have gone through, right?
Yes. Most of the stories in the book are personal stories of my own that I've gone through in various stages of my life. I share some pretty intimate things, some pretty personal things. That's the only way that we can really demonstrate what's going on inside is to share those stories. The book launch is coming out this June 2024. It's a birthday book launch. So that means there's going to be birthday cake and champagne.
Oh, there you go.
So come on down. The price of entry is just buy a book. Okay. I'll be there to sign it. I'll be there to take pictures.
I'll be right there and I'll bring everybody.
Yeah.
And you need to sign my book too.
Oh, I will. I definitely will.
Just so you know, I'm a tarot reader on YouTube. So I deal with like a lot of the zodiac signs.
Sure, yeah.
Can I ask you, what's your zodiac sign?
So I'm a Gemini.
Gemini,
I'm a Gemini. And I actually, my uncle, taught me, to read tarot cards and astrology and all that. And he actually, he's old school. He was doing Wicca and stuff back in the 50s and 60s and all that. And he had, for the zodiac sign, they had come up with like a motto or a tagline for each one of them. Okay. And I'm a Gemini. And he told me that mine is schizophrenia for fun and profit. It feels like it because I'm always switching voices when I'm doing the writing. And it's for fun and it's for profit. That's what it is. And I feel like I'm just tapping into
That's your natural element. Gemini is the element is air.
Yeah.
Air in the tarot is the swords.
Yeah.
So it's like intellectual, how you speak, how you project things to people. And you're like in your element, you're in your power, you're in your energy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Can I take that to one more level with you?
Yeah.
So last week I actually drew a tarot card because I was trying to figure out the next step I'm supposed to take, and it was the 5 of Wands. And I read out of the classic Rider-Waite deck.
Okay.
And so the 5 of Wands is just 5 kids, 5 boys with sticks just waving them in the air. And I realized a lot of what I'm talking about with this fire and gold is very much a masculine energy. Socially, I need more male energy to be able to share this and bounce it off, with. And so I think what I was reading in that was I need to start having a men's group where we can start talking about the fire of being a producer, and how that kind of comes in.
So the 5 of Wands is a card of a group environment, right? And it's a little chaotic, but the wands could signify a lot of things, not necessarily arguments, but ideas being thrown out from one person to the other. So you got the right, idea of coming together, finding more groups, finding more people, throwing your ideas out there and receiving as well. So
and let it be messy.
Yeah.
Like go ahead and wave your sticks around. It doesn't have to be an organized thing. And that's part of the process in finding the structure and the order, is you have to go through that chaos for a moment.
Yeah, you have to go through the chaos. I feel like
absolutely
there's obstacles in life. There's lessons you have to go through to become a better person, to evolve to the next level.
You have to. If you don't grind through the challenges of the earth, it's like when you plant that seed has to work really hard to get back up to the surface. And if it doesn't, it's not a proper plant. It's not going to be strong enough to actually grow out. You have to go through that struggle.
Yeah. I love it.
So I grew up in Santa Monica, California. I was fourth generation from Santa Monica. It's a place where lots of people move to from other parts of the country, and I was one of the few people that had been there, for quite a while. And I left because so many people moved there. So I've been out here in Denver, Colorado for a little over 12 years now. Totally feels like home here. I love the mountains. I got my own little spot of land, up in the hills up above Blackhawk. It's my own little sanctuary. Totally love to go up there and just, reconnect with nature. Learning how to actually build with stones, how to
interesting.
The old European walls and everything. So I'm actually, I'm watching YouTube channels. I'm actually going to take a class this spring on how to work with that. There's something, again, very grounding and humbling about getting back the nature element.
You talk about loving it here in Colorado with nature stuff. Do you think we're connected to nature, to the earth in a way? Do you feel a connection there, or do you think it's important to connect to nature?
Yes, it's absolutely important. So one of the things that I like about being in nature is nature isn't trying to sell me something. When I'm in any type of an urban environment, a city, and driving on, so there's always billboards, advertisements, there's storefronts, we're always, as people, trying to sell each other things. It's very rare that we see people that we're not trying to get something out of each other somehow. When you go to nature, it's not trying to sell you a damn thing. And that is, I think, one of the reasons that I and a lot of people experience deeper levels of relaxation in nature, is because the stimulation, to get something from us just is not there. All the parts that are bombarded and that we kind of have to pull back, they can just kind of relax and go back to their normal state. No, we're not connected to nature.
Okay.
It's like I get my food from a supermarket.
Right.
Most of us don't understand that food isn't available year long in nature. That we've set up this complicated system of greenhouses and shipping lanes and international commerce so that we can have strawberries year round and pasta year round and just all the things that we need, there constantly. That's not natural. It's natural for us to have a part of the season where we're planting seeds, and it's growing out, and we have all that. And then the fall harvest, that's the time that you pig out. That's when there's the most food. And then you got to preserve, and you got to be careful when you go through winter. And everything is canned, because it's all been preserved at that point. And you start to run out, and you start to eat the same thing, because it's getting to be springtime and there's, not much there. And, a few generations ago, my grandparents, they were still doing that. Most of their food, they grew themselves. I'm not saying there are people that do that now, but most of us, in Denver, we don't do that.
It's so much different when you go dive deep into the food industry with chemicals being added to the food for preservatives and all kinds of, our meats are not natural anymore. There's steroids being injected into chickens, cows, and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And we're eating all that. We're consuming all that.
Well, up on my land, there's a natural meadow in it, and it has wild strawberries in the field in the summertime. And the wild strawberries are literally that big. The interesting thing about a strawberry is that the sweetness spreads out. It's the same amount of sweetness. It just spreads out to either a big berry, and it's less sweet because it's spread out, or it's compact down. And so when I'm up there, I get to eat these wild strawberries, and they have so much sweetness and flavor in them, but they're tiny. And to realize like, okay, so what I buy in the supermarket is nothing like what nature actually created. And that's sort of an eye-opener.
It's a big time eye-opener. I think it's very important that we look into going back to the natural, but again, with the title of your book, consumer versus producer, where do we stand here, right? Are we gonna consume and take whatever they give us because we keep taking, right?
Well, that's a great point. Is like when you are passive in the process, you're just going to take what somebody else gives you, and when you're simply consuming, you're actually in a dependent state, like a child. You're just taking whatever the supermarket, whatever the grower, whatever government, however you want to look at it. I'm just accepting what shows up on that grocery market shelf, and that is a pretty dangerous place to be as an individual if we just get too complacent as just being passive consumers that are dependent. Even activating the active ingredients of being a producer, you start to think, okay, where did this come from? I'm used to building these things. Who built this? What went into this? You start to have an active engagement with all the areas of your life. Right. When you start to identify as a producer, those things start to come right up to the surface. I'm having a great time. I really appreciate you coming out. Tonight we were hosting a drumming circle, and so you got some cool footage of that.
Footage. It's really calming. It was really good. I liked the rhythm. At one point I was like lost in it. I really enjoyed this meeting here, and I'm looking forward to more, and I'm looking forward to your book and all the knowledge you've gained. I feel like when it comes to life, there's got to be a sense of like you putting your story out there, because your story is very important. You've been through a lot. Obviously, everybody has a different path in life. You've been through a lot, and I love the fact that you're putting that out there, because now your life story will become something. Congrats on the book, and I'm happy that it's coming out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all of that. I really hope that is what comes out of the books, is that they really can serve someone else, that they can inspire them, that they can be relatable, that they can give them, something that's useful in their lives. And I really appreciate you taking the time, to come out here and interview me, and and to take all the footage of everything, and to just join in, in the flow of the drumming circle. That was super awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Follow your dreams. Yeah.